Move versus Super Frogs, only one team will stay alive in the NA.
All right, Wealthy Man was able to bank the game 5 earlier today for his team to advance to this point, and he'll be stepping off in their first starting lineup, playing that Rogue Warlock Restoration Shaman. Obviously the move playing with Jelly Beans. He's a BlizzCon veteran. He's been to multiple lands, and he's showcasing the Survival Hunter specialization, which is a ton of upfront burst damage. We see Peekaboo leading the charge here onto Cubsy, it would appear.
Indeed, Wealthy Man actually kidneys Peekaboo on the kidney of Cubsy, denying some of that Vendetta pressure straight away, but they're still getting so much damage. He uses that Astral Shift. Jelly Beans using that aspect of the Hawk.
What?
So low on HP, he just about clutches out that healing surge with the Astral Shift and the Gateway, but it looks like they're just going to gun him down. Both teams going in, trying to kill Cubsy just so quickly here.
Yeah, I mean, he's managed to survive. Nice Earthen Shield Totem, but now Peekaboo getting swapped to an exploded. Stunned on his trinket on 10%. Absurge gets fully sapped. He's relentless. Peekaboo's completely alone. How is he going to survive? Wealthy Man gunning him down. A Fear to follow it up. Perfect crowd control from the Super Frogs, buying every possible second, but it's not enough. Absurge clutches it out with the Spearling Totem, but it's going to be a race to the finish to kill Cubsy. If they can't kill him soon, they are running out of time.
Indeed, they're just about to live, but Cubsy also very low. He uses the trinket. He gets kicked into a full cap stun on his Ascendance right now. He needs to cast out the heal. Peekaboo gets put into the kidney as well. Absurge trying to heal for his life. He got kicked as well by Wealthy Man, doing such an incredible job on that Assassination Rogue. He's going so low on HP. Soon Peekaboo, though, will have his Vendetta, and I think that could be a lot of trouble for Cubsy.
He has to stay alive. 7 more seconds. He has to stay alive. 5 more seconds. Can he make it to that point? Absurge gets locked out. Kidney shot is secured for the kill. Drain Soul being channeled. Absurge dispels the dot. A trap now landed on the channel, but Peekaboo ultimately falls right as Vendetta became available for Cubsy. Both teams from North America bringing what North America does best, aggression.
Oh my goodness, what a way to start this one off, and the Super Frogs going to be able to take it. And keep in mind, in Twitch chat, first of all, you did not side with the Super Frogs, but also it's a good decision not to, based off of what we've seen in this summer season. This has been a very, very tough matchup for them. Zico, how were they able to do it?
I mean, it's just all-out aggression onto the Resto Shaman of Cubsy from the side of the move. Is going to allow Wealthy Man and Chanimals to just completely do whatever they want. We saw so much crowd control onto Absurge. Absurge opting for that Relentless talent as well, and it's a very risky pick because we nearly saw Peekaboo go down immediately in this game on that first blind. And I mean, Super Frogs did a phenomenal job really trying to lock down Absurge on that ridge, and this is exactly one of these moments. I mean, this is so back and forth. You can see Cubsy is getting absolutely destroyed, but there's the full blind sap onto Absurge, and then Peekaboo is barely hanging on with that evasion. Fear, Hex, Fear. I mean, this CC chain is why Chanimal and you know, the side of Super Frogs are just so amazing. There's the full blind onto Absurge. Everyone is piled up onto Cubsy over here, and Cubsy is kind of safe right now because he has that Earthen Totem down, and Peekaboo really should have trinketed this kidney shot right here as soon as possible because he is in a world of hurt here. You can see there is the kick onto Cubsy. Peekaboo trinkets late with that evasion and that cloak, getting restunned on his trinket. Wealthy Man dodges out of that flare, gets the full sap as well, chasing Peekaboo, but he does have that evasion up, and Peekaboo spamming that feint, showing his face only to Wealthy Man to try to avoid some of those attacks. There's, of course, force out the Spirit Link from Absurge, and then that's going to be another situation where at the back of a spell lock onto Absurge, Chanimal is going to use his offensive Unending Resolve to be able to cast out as much.
Frogs get the victory where it matters the most.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, these North American Titans about to continue to clash as Wealthy Man Shadow steps in, but luckily getting combat to deny a sap. Good offensive plays from the move early on to dodge a long crowd control effect. Chanimal nether warding preemptively as Cubsy sits through a blind. He's playing it patient as Chanimal kites away. Peekaboo kidney shots. Wealthy Man force some cleave pressure. They get the sap out of the blind. Chanimal gets stunned up as could get bursted down, but he's in position to use the gateway if he needs to get away. Now a Fear secured onto Cubsy. They could set up a swap out of this. Cubsy getting ready for that, puts Earth Shield on himself. He's expecting a swap at any second. Chanimal playing very far away to avoid the stun on himself to make it easy for Cubsy, but now he gets silenced. He gates during the silence. Now they swap to Wealthy Man, though. They left him behind. He's forced to evacuate. The gateway is critical on this map as they make a getaway.
Indeed, and Absurge trinket is blind earlier, so they're going to look for potential swaps onto him. Both rogues still have their vendettas, and they're waiting to pop that trigger. They want to pop it smartly as well. They don't want to kind of waste it, and have them utilize the Peekaboo getting dropped down low. Absurge dispels those unstable afflictions that's mounting onto WizK. So much pressure is coming out from these assassination rows. Wealthy Man pops his artifact. They make a kidney swap on the Cubsy. There's the Vendetta coming in from Peekaboo. So much burst damage coming in on the Cubsy. He drops that Urban Shield Tome. He gets kicked. Peekaboo's doing an excellent job throughout the entire game with these kicks. WizK's getting a lot of pressure as well, and the move are starting to make their move.
Cubsy was already in a great position and got a fair trade with Earthen Shield Totem. Normally you need to commit more than that, so this is a great start for the Super Frogs, and this means the move will be falling behind. Peekaboo still trying to lead the charge. WizK comes in with a Shadow Crash Void Form combo. Tons of damage! Silence, trinket by Cubsy. We might need more as he tries to get away. Wealthy Man was forced to vanish defensively to peel them away, but the pressure is still mounting. Cubsy sneaks around the corner, catches a couple of heals, and now WizK on the back foot. Absurge getting spell locked. Shanimal trying to hard carry. Shadow Step kick onto Absurge. WizK is forced to disperse as both teams continue swinging.
Indeed, both teams using heavy defensive cooldowns right now. WizK still very low on HP as well. The combination of Chanimals and Wealthy Man getting so much pressure. A kick on the Cubsy once again. He's struggling to heal them, as well as Absurge keeping them alive, and Absurge is slightly behind on mana. I'm not sure if it will matter anyway, because both of these teams are doing an absurd amount of pressure. WizK taking so much damage. A spell lock once again lands onto Absurge. WizK in so much trouble. He needs to fight chip, but he's unable to. Absurge gets that Spirit Link in the nick of time, and they are just about surviving by the skin of their teeth. Full blind on the Cubsy right now. This could be the end of them. Peekaboo trinkets out. He's popping his own Vendetta. Wealthy Man will have his Vendetta very soon, Sid.
Yes, and Peekaboo is still on the back foot as everybody in this game is vulnerable. Wealthy Man's evasion has just faded. There's no trinket on Peekaboo. I'd love to see a swap to him by Wealthy Man that can get a hard punish. WizK can easily trinket in life swap. We see the Vendetta still rolling. Peekaboo's now just fading. Wealthy Man gets kidneyed around the corner. Cubsy in position to try and get some healing waves, barely crashing in time. The Shadow Word Death almost snuck a kill for WizK. Cubsy jumps away from Peekaboo, kiting him very far away. Chanimal portals back. Wealthy Man's going after Peekaboo. He's got no trinket. Vendetta gets pulled. What is Absurge going to do to survive in this position? Succubus play. Peekaboo gets a cloak off on very low HP. Absurge is still crowd controlled for quite some time. Just now getting out of it. Cubsy dispelling dots off himself before the incoming kidney shot. WizK getting pressured away, as well as Absurge is slowly but surely falling behind. They make a swap to Wealthy Man. He trinkets out to survive, but now doesn't have trinket for Vendetta. Cubsy is still silenced up. WizK is in void form. They have to use blind defensively on Peekaboo to diffuse the damage of the move. If they can survive just a little bit longer, they should be able to close this out, but I'm not sure if they're going to make it, Joe.
Indeed, the blind was actually half due to the DR from the Fierce, so it was really a big waste, and now Absurge is going to have his trinket as well. The move are clawing their way back into this game, but it could go either way. Still, WizK getting some of those Vampiric touches out. Absurge running out of mana, but soon Peekaboo has that Vendetta now. He needs to get a lot of pressure. Wealthy Man has nothing to survive it. They only have the Spirit Link from Cubsy. They need to try and force these defensive cooldowns. Peekaboo uses that evasion. Healing Tide comes out. There's the kick on a WizK, but a spell lock on the Absurge as well. Peekaboo trying to burst down Wealthy Man, but at the same time, WizK is getting crushed. He still has that dispersion if needed, and it looks like he'll be okay for now.
But that kidney shot and these spheres completely erased that void form for WizK. He got no burst damage off. They stalled it out. They're making their way. Vendetta available for Wealthy Man very shortly. They could swap onto Peekaboo, but Absurge has cooldowns to survive. He just doesn't have mana, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to sneak away. The momentum of both teams is so high throughout this entire game. Peekaboo moves over for a swap over to Cubsy, trying to make something happen. Shadow Crash comes in from WizK, bursting Cubsy down, but he survives the stun. WizK now under fire, trying to hold on to the Vendetta. Void form, though, gets popped. WizK could switch this around. Succubus defensive play on Peekaboo. He's overextended, out of line of sight, can't get dispelled. Absurge tanks it anyway. WizK getting pressured. Vendetta is rolling. Absurge gets spell locked. These spell locks from Chanimal have been MVP for the pressure of the Super Frogs. WizK dips dangerously low, but he's able to be greedy. Excellent heals from Absurge. His entire team at half health, and he's just trying his hardest to keep them going.
Indeed, they make a swap on the Cubsy, but earlier they actually broke the blind on the Cubsy, and that's so devastating for the move. They're going to find it so hard to get momentum now in this dampening. WizK just keeps dropping and dropping. Wealthy Man did use that Vendetta, like you said, and it looks like they might be forced into dispersion. Absurge having such a difficult time keeping him up. He's just so low. There's the void form, though. They're trying to go for the burst themselves, but he gets put into a kidney shot once again. He trinkets out, but he wants to keep this pressure up. Absurge caught into a fear, though, right now. He may need to still disperse. Cubsy getting kicked as well. They actually catch up Cubsy. He gets put into a kidney. He trinkets Astral Shift Healing Tide. So many Whiskey cooldowns being used. Whiskey solo as well as Peekaboo right now. They're trying to make a swap on the Trinket Cloaks, and the spell lock on the Whiskey. He could go down to this game. Is just so close, Sid.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Cubsy's almost tapped on mana. Both Shamans have blown Ascendance. Those cooldowns are no longer going to be available for likely the rest of the matches. Whiskey hangs on by a thread. Full fear on Absurge. Breaks to the dot damage. Whiskey doing whatever he can to pressure Wealthy Man back, but he doesn't have the damage to do it. Wealthy Man is all over them, landing a Shadow Step kick as Whiskey is forced to disperse. Absurge is still dangerously low. Spirit Link Totem will do nothing with this entire this low. Vendetta gets popped. Peekaboo gets blinded to deny any sort of peels for his team as Whiskey has Void Swap. He can switch his health with someone on his team, but everyone is low. All the defensive cooldowns they have left really aren't going to do too much, but Absurge, the legend, somehow pulls his team back from the brink. Wealthy Man down to half. Cubsy now tapped on mana, and it's still anyone's game.
This is definitely a nail by a Wealthy Man solo on HP as well. He has the trigger. The Cloak of Shadows coming up in around 5 seconds. Cubsy getting put into his silence game, bursted down. Now the Shadow Crash lands. It could kill him out. He gets cheap shot. I think he could go down here, and he does. The move making their move right now against Super Frogs, and they take one game back.
An absolute bloodbath, and now we are all tied up, and this is going to be a series ego of slugfests.
I mean, both teams are just coming out swinging. It's so many small plays that are just happening consistently. All the target swapping as well. It's not just random. We see these setups onto the rogues. We see these blinds onto the rogues. We see these shaman swaps, and back and forth. We see the move finding opportunities to get Whiskey going, and we see Wealthy Man doing his hardest to shut down those void forms time and time again. Eventually, though, the move find that opportunity to take down Cubsy. They force out his tricky swaps, and this is just another example of just that. They lead up with the silence, and then they swap that over with the cheap shot, and then Peekaboo's going to be trinketing as well, I believe. Actually, no, he gets out of the Infernal Stun, gets that retreat.
And we are all tied up, headed into game number 3, but that is going to change. Who is going to find themselves on match point?
We're going to see if the move are able to swing this, take a game advantage back into theirs, and Channels just gets a gateway right now. Wealthy Man opens up onto Whiskey with that Garrosh. We're going to see these Vendettas come out from each row. Both of them playing it very patiently, though, and just pop that trigger offensively when they feel that they have the advantage.
All right, Peekaboo can just pick any target he wants, and it looks like Whiskey is going to get kidney shot early on by Wealthy Man, but still holding on to the Vendetta. Wind Shear onto Absurge, just going to apply more pressure now into full blind. Trinket out of that. Absurge could get swapped too. Let's keep our eyes open for that, but now blind onto Cubsy as Wealthy Man is dipping dangerously low. Are they going to trade the cooldowns? Cloak of Shadows instead. They need to deny the sap off this blind, but I don't think they were able to. Peekaboo follows it up. Whiskey, though, gets spell locked. He's going for Master Spell to remove dots during that time. Great utility there from Whiskey, reducing a lot of the incoming damage to his team with that Master Spell. Wealthy Man is still on the back foot, but now trying to punish Peekaboo for overextending towards Cubsy. Cubsy taking the time to dispel off dots. Good crowd control, and Whiskey off the back of that, actually punishing an aggressive Trinket. Whiskey used his Trinket aggressively. They can punish this heavily.
Indeed, they're making a huge swap over to Cubsy here, but he's just about to get that gateway off right now of surviving those Vendettas, but the Vendetta onto Whiskey himself as well. The Earthen Shield Tome comes out, the Healing Tide as well, and it might not be enough. Whiskey dipping lower and lower. Absurge need to pump the heals, but he gets spell locked. This could be devastating for Whiskey. He's just holding on due to that Earthen Shield Tome. It may be enough, but another spell lock comes from Animals. A kick on Whiskey as well. The dispersed in 1 second. Is he going to do it? He actually void shifts on the Absurge, but he may die as well. He's so low. The Spirit Link gets used instead. He actually nearly mind controls that Spirit Link. The move again completely decimated, Sid.
That was just a choke in that high pressure situation, and they blow their entire defensive arsenal. Every single member of the move is now exposed for the Super Frogs, who are sitting pretty with 3 trinkets. They can do whatever they want in this game and move this to a game number 5. Peekaboo's in desperation. What can he do? He's just gunning down Cubsy. That's not going to work. He's rotting down. He comes back. He's going to peel away Wealthy Man and try and stall this game out. Whiskey dipping dangerously low. Potential dispersion here before any offensive coolness. Dispersion is forced. Absurge gets spell locked again. Chanimal almost with a 100% spell lock rate. The entire team is rotting down. Peekaboo gets swapped to once again, and the Super Frogs are playing out of their mind. What can Absurge do? He drops Earthen Shield Totem. They're pinned down behind the pillar. Chanimal is moving in. Seed of Corruption exploding onto the entire team. Wealthy Man pushing Peekaboo back as the Super Frogs bully the move.
Indeed, the move only recovered for now, but Wealthy Man now has that Vendetta. If Chanmos can get pressure, I don't see how the move are going to survive this. They're just trying to just peel right now, pillar hug until they get those defensive cooldowns that they so desperately need to survive. The Vendettas are up for both rogues. Pressure on a WizK right now. Peekaboo pops it. So does Wealthy Man. Both rogues going so ham right now. WizK in so much trouble. The blind on the Surge instantly gets Trinket. He knows he needs to keep WizK alive right now. Wealthy Man dropping low. He needs to be careful not to overextend. Him and Cubsy had around 100-yard range. Another spell lock on the WizK during that Void Bomb. He's getting so low. The full Seduce on the Surge is actually half. Cheap shots on the WizK forces that Trinket. Peekaboo had to use his Cloak of Shadows. Full kidney on the Surge. I think this is going to be it for WizK. How do they survive the defensive line? Might be enough. The mind control comes out. Down he goes. Super Frogs played this so incredibly, and they will now go 2-1 and are looking to win only one more game to secure that spot in the next round.
Look at this. I mean, the thing is Super Frogs, we've said it so many times, they've struggled in this matchup all season long. They get here on LAN, and you put players like Chanimal in a LAN environment, and they're just, Chanimal's not even a human. He's just, the things he does. That's the reason why it doesn't feel bad as an NA fan to say that Chanimal is your last hope. He's pretty much one of the only hopes that the region has ever had in the history of the NA region in World of Warcraft esports.
I mean, Chanimal just proves it time and time again that he is such a world-class player, and he's one of those players that just seems to get a buff on LAN where he's just doing insane things. He's basically just being such a disruptive member of the team, applying pressure.
Being the team to represent North America in this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, this could still be the moves games to win. I mean, these series are so close, but this was definitely the biggest moment of this game by far. What is going on right here is it's just so many things, and it just always happens at the back of Chanimal spell locks. You can see here, full spell lock onto Absturge, full kidney shot onto WizK. Absturge thinks that it's fine because he has his Earthen Totem down, he has his Earth Shield down as well onto WizK. So WizK is in a pretty good spot right now. Peekaboo, of course, is all over here, applying pressure onto Cubsy with his own Vendetta. So he's focusing on that offense. And then here, we're gonna see Chanimal get that spell lock onto Absturge into another spell lock, and then WizK is gonna panic and live swap, and it just becomes complete chaos here. There's the first spell lock fading. Absturge cast again, gets double spell lock by Chanimal. Wealthy Man comes in with the kick onto WizK, preventing him from using that dispersion. Absturge dispelling those UAs, and then he gets live swapped as well on top of that. And look at his health link, you know, everything that you really have to offer. So it's just phenomenal. And at that point, you are so far behind that the next time you have those offensive cooldowns,
hyper aggressive and get kills where sometimes they wouldn't if they played that aggressive. But like you said, there's a fine line between being aggressive and being too aggressive.
I mean, they're screaming kill almost louder than you right now. But taking a look at the screen, folks, Super Frogs could take the entire series here and send the move back to NA.
Yeah, let's see if the move can keep their attacks coordinated. If they do not, the Super Frogs will dismantle them. We see an initial attack here on towards Chanimal. He triggers, he ports, he gates across the universe with Cubsy tag teaming back behind the box. Peekaboo, he's going to push in, aggressively go for a blind, getting a trinket from Cubsy. Now we could see a potential swap to Cubsy later on if WizK can get in position. He's channeling that Void Torrent. Peekaboo is leading the crowd control with a kick. Is he going to commit the kidney shot now is the question. It seems like they're just happy enough attacking Chanimal here up top, but Absturge gets feared away. WizK could get pressured. There's the swap, punishing the trinket. This could be a huge punishment. Nice feels from Chanimal. Perfect infernal stun timing right there to buy time for Cubsy to get this astral shift, but they're still keeping up the momentum. Peekaboo landing a nice kick onto Cubsy, making him fall behind, but at the same time they're overextending. WizK has to trade out dispersion as both teams are just coming out swinging.
Indeed, so many cooldowns been used, and that Chanimal's infernal stun was actually pinpoint perfection from his peeling once again, and it looks like Peekaboo's trying to get offensive onto him at times. Kidney shots him, makes these swaps onto Cubsy, harasses him a lot with those kicks and kidneys as well. He's dropping a bit low as well as WizK. Absturge has a no healing tide. He has to use that ascendancy. He wants to keep them nice and healthy. WizK dropping very low right now. Wealthy Man did use that Vendetta too. Spell lock on the WizK as well, and he's just looking very devastated.
Yeah, WizK doing a good job rotating through Massive Spell and VT to try and alleviate some of the damage for Absurd, but a kidney shot on the Void Form. Perfect timing from Wealthy Man, getting a lot of damage from WizK. Can he keep it going? But now a silence on Cubsy, a kidney shot on Chanimal. He's forced to trade out Unending Resolve. The move have way more momentum in this game than we've seen throughout this series. They're definitely still having a lot of confidence. Another spell lock on WizK. Chanimal's been using those more on WizK to try and shut him down this game. The move have the pressure. They're a couple steps away from victory now with Cubsy having no trinket and Chanimal having no trinket. Those are two big openings that the move can take.
Indeed they are, and both teams are forced in these defensive cooldowns, kind of trading blow for blow right now, but soon Wealthy Man has his Vendetta, so does Peekaboo. There's the kidney onto Absurd. He doesn't have the Vendetta yet, but he might be able to kill him anyway. He just about gets out. Astral Shift overlight with that Void Shift though. That could be a mistake that sends Super Frogs into the lead, but at the same time Wealthy Man has to use that Evasion and Cloak of Shadows to survive the onslaught from WizK right now. Both teams getting lower and lower.
All right, Peekaboo gets the trinket from Cubsy for later on. They pop the Void Form. They're trying to go for a kill here with Wealthy Man and Chanimal solo. Hellstone gets traded out, recovering a bit of HP. Cubsy has Healing Tide Totem. He can place that and recover. Absurd doesn't have that same luxury. It's really Trinket, Spirit Link, and Dispersion. WizK throws his trinket aggressively, but he doesn't have the life swap, so he can get away with this. He needs to get damage rolling. They need to end the game quickly. It's match point. They'll be going home if they can't get a kill within roughly the next minute or so. I feel like at that point with Vendetta coming up for Wealthy Man, they can easily close this game out. Blind on Absurd, they get a trinket. He dispels off the back of the trinket as well, as WizK is getting powered down. Seeds of Corruption are exploding. Peekaboo just trying to peel for him. Wealthy Man behind the pillar. They could make a swap to Peekaboo, trying to set up as much spread pressure as possible as Chanimal, the Lord of Damage, is starting to rip them apart.
Indeed, and WizK super low. He actually gets kicked there and won't be able to disperse, but Absurd shooting an extra job, keeping them up. Both mana on the Shamans. They're just spam healing the entire game, keeping up with this absurd damage coming in from both teams right now. Absurd is just a bit behind right now. WizK popping that Void Form. They're at the same time getting a kidney swap onto Wealthy Man. So much pressure coming in onto him. He has that Cloak of Shadows very soon. Looks like Cubsy still has a lot of his defensive cooldowns, and Absurd gonna get his Ascendance back very soon.
Ooh, Wealthy Man going for a Shadow Step kick, gets faked on it. Double Psychic Scream from WizK as he's setting up to free cast a lot of Vampiric Touches. He managed to get one on Cubsy, but a defensive Succubus on Peekaboo allows Cubsy to sit through that. Perfect timing from Chanimal. The Succubus play is immaculate. They've got a massive mana lead at this point. Shadow Step kick secured by Wealthy Man. WizK primary target here. Dispersion available. He needs to be careful. They're setting up for the swap. Maybe this is going to a game 5. They need just a little bit more damage. Earthen Shield Totem is planted by Cubsy. That should reduce the incoming pressure enough for him to survive. Now WizK on the back foot, forced into the Dispersion. Now the Spirit Link Totem, really the only thing standing between the move continuing this series or going home, and they have no trinket to activate it. This is so dangerous for the move.
Indeed, it is very dangerous. Ab's just gonna have to be very careful. He has that trinket in around 30 seconds though. WizK dropping no Dispersion for a minute either, and there's the kidney shot. If they have anything on Absurd, this could be his life. They kidney shot him. Infernal Stun into a fin, that may be it. The Void Shift overlapped with the Spirit Link. Oh no! The move making another defensive error that could cost them their series, Sid.
Ascendance from Absturge. This is the last push for him. He can get his team back to full, but they've got no openings. Everybody has a trinket on the side of the Super Frogs. They're just going to be raining down damage as the move cower in terror on match point behind the boxes, doing whatever they can to stay alive. Full kidney shot from Wealthy Man. WizK trinkets out. He knows he needs to do whatever he can to get pressure going, but Cubsy is just deflecting it left and right. Nobody's taking damage. Chanimal's all over them with a lot of unstable afflictions being casted. Garo from Wealthy Man. Gear up for the entire team. Everybody is going to start to rot down here for the move.
Indeed, Wealthy Man is crushing WizK. A cross kick on the Absurge just might be the end. The Earthen Shield Tome is the only thing keeping him alive. A half the juice on the Absurge might ground them the kill. WizK getting lower and lower, and that's going to be it. Super Frogs take that third game. They played so phenomenal in this matchup, and they go 3-1, moving on against XRB to the moon.
Super Frogs, yes, now they will play against XRB. And the main thing is that's going to be another elimination series. The winner of that goes to the grand final. So right now, we're either going to have in the grand final a rematch, or we're going to have NA versus EU. It feels pretty good either way. Very excited for that. And you got to give it up to the Super Frogs. You also got to give it up to the move. Phenomenal performance from them. But the thing to note is, even if you are a fan of the move, the fact that Super Frogs is moving on can still be good for them. It can be good for the North American region, because if Super Frogs can go through with their slightly advantageous compositions, take down the 2 EU teams and win the entire tournament, that is something that's going to feel good for the move as well. The entire North American region can kind of celebrate them, and ultimately you still want to be the one to do it yourself.
I mean, I gotta say it. If you are from North America, this is the best possible outcome that you could hope for. Super Frogs now has a chance to take down XRB, which is the team that the move struggled against yesterday, to put it lightly, obviously. And then if they manage to take down XRB, this is the interesting thing. In the final against Method Black, XRB played that Windwalker Lock Shaman, and in the first game, it looked like they were actually going to take that first game against Method Black. So this is a composition that could potentially do well into the
To be completely honest right now, Zico, off of compositions alone, you kind of favor NA to potentially take this entire thing. I mean, so the difficult.
I'm joined here with Chanimals, coming off a very impressive performance. Now, you had a really close match against the Move. Those games were insane. With that RLS composition, this is something we saw your team bring in the spring finals, and now you're once again representing that comp here in the summer finals. This seems to be a comp that only your team runs. What about your team do you think makes it work?
I don't know why other people don't run it, to be honest, because it's really good into certain comps. And I think it's like one of the best Lock Shaman comps out there. And I also think that Wealthy Man in particular is really good at Asrogue and making like big plays. You saw in the Ashermain's game, he covered my Seduce and got us the win through that. And something he's really good at is just creating opportunities and windows like that for us to win, which with an Affliction Lock normally isn't possible.
Yesterday, you guys had a disappointing loss, obviously. Was there anything you did in particular to sort of refocus for today, or do you think maybe you guys just needed a little bit of a warm-up?
We did expect for them to be really difficult if they played that comp, which they did. Just moving forwards, you can't dwell on it, and you just got to play the game and move forwards. Hope you don't face them again, really.
Well, I think you are going to be playing them again in your next match. How confident are you going forward in a rematch against XRB?
Oh, last time we fought them, I feel like we got a little lucky. It was 3-1, but one of the games was a bit of a throw. Moving forwards into this series now, I think they've practiced a lot more and prepared a lot more different comps, which can beat ours. I think if we play well, maybe we can pull something out of the bag, but it will be really hard.
Something it seems your team relies on, just playing really well, and you guys have been able to do it today. Thanks for the interview. Back to you, Rich.